Hey, hello, friends, and welcome to Behind the Wheel and Behind the Wall with Frankie Guy. My name's Steve Barber. We're here at the Unit 4 Media Studios, and we got a great podcast for you, Behind the Wheel and the Wall with Frankie Guy. And luckily, we got Frankie Guy right here.
Yeah,
He's ready to make some noise with his podcast about Derby.
Demolition Derby.
Demolition Derby.
Um, it's been an amazing ride the last 5 years, going on 6 now, and this is something that's been out there. And a good friend that I've watched kind of inspired me a little bit. Sometimes with media and Facebook and all the things. The truths don't get out there, and we don't talk about the hard facts. So, and also, there's a lot of great drivers out there that we only know them from behind the wheel on the derby track. Well, behind the wheel is getting them and getting to know them as a person, as what's their favorite food, what do they do besides demolition derby, getting a little bit, and then we dig into the derby part, what makes them burn, because as a derby driver myself for so many years, and as I talk, the passion in these guys, the know-how, like I said, if I ever was going down on a plane, I want to be on a plane full of demolition derby car guys. We will eat, drink, and be merry, and we'll leave whenever we're ready.
You might have some MacGyvers in there to be able to fix the plane.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt we'll be okay. If we survive the hit, we're going to be fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's take it back just a little bit. And what is derby? For those people that don't know out there, I mean, you're going on the internet and maybe people don't know what demolition derby is. Can you just give us a little kind of background on what derby is?
Yeah, demolition derby. I'm not sure of how long it goes back, but it goes back to a racetrack, from what I understand, and some of the older cars, and they just one day loaded them up and start kind of running into each other a little bit. But the sport itself, I think, as it came through there, started going to as entertainment. Years ago, you see them at the big racetracks, and then kind of moved into the fairs. And demolition derby is a bunch of kind of grassroots guys, and you know what? Here I said hard facts. Some rednecks, some hillbillies, some doctors, some lawyers, some CEOs. I think that mix and that part of it is amazing. A to Z. You got them all in there that have a passion of building something, taking it, running it against, competing against other competitors, and knowing that you built the best thing that night, that evening. You had the best car, and that just fire. And for some, it's a big release. Getting in a car, sitting down, the butterflies in your stomach until that first hit. Mm-hmm. Then
it's on.
The bills go away. The wife, the kids, the what I should have, could have, would have did is all gone. It's just you in that machine that you poured your heart and soul into, smashing in the other guys. And even as the person, there's a lot of laid back guys, and there's some brutes out there, but I tell you, even a guy that's kind of laid back there, I call it in derby where we call flipping the switch. Maybe that guy ain't so nice, or that guy, he gets the eye of the tiger, if you will.
Okay, so maybe did it get invented by frustrated people that lost races and just went in there I'm crashing into you, Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, people, they say back in the day, people went to races. A lot of people like the wrecks. Why do you go? I like to see what happens when the cars crash or the cars do this. And I mean, you see, again, I haven't done any of the research as why or who. I have read it, but I don't remember it. But you start way back when at the racetracks, and even the first promoter, George Marshman, that I worked for, was a race car promoter. And then as he got into the race car promotions, They started doing this as a sideshow at the racetracks and stuff back in the days, and then it kind of took off from there. And in the early '80s, it took a stroke with I think NBC Sports and some of those other guys kind of picked up some, you seen it, and then it kind of went away for a while. But I think it's continuing to grow. All the stuff and all the stuff that's being made out there, and the internet. Good part, it's helped it to grow. It's helped it to get its name and knowledge out there, and where there are shows at, and who has shows and stuff like that. So, locally, the county fairs, you can go. There's lots of arena events, and then there's the Demolition Derby, and I don't care what county fair, what fair it is out there, that night, the parking lots are full, and the vendors are tickled, and they're selling popcorn and hot sausage, and it's a big night for the local fairs for sure. So,
well, how did you get involved in the Derby? Like, what was your pathway to get there?
My pathway it started way back with my dad, George. He, as a little kid, you'll hear this, I took my Matchbox cars and I smashed them with hammers and I painted the sides because that's what he did. As a little kid, I went to the Demolition Derbies. I watched them strip cars and do things. And early on, I didn't know why. I just knew that I really wanted to do what they did. Wanted to drive a derby car. There's some pictures of me, wow, way, way back. So we went to the Derby, and as I got a little older, they're used to, at Fayette County Fairgrounds, before all the roofs and all the aluminum seats, there was just a little island, a little square, little wooden island that Mr. Marshman stood on, and they used to start the Demolition Derby 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they had a little cherry bomb that ran off a 9-volt battery. That's how they set it off. Well, at 9 or 10 years old, once a year, I was that kid that sat arena side with Mr. Marshman and set that cherry bomb off.
Oh, that's big, the pyro guy.
I was. And there were logs, and they would run the little wire and hang the cherry bomb over the log. And I'd watch him, and it's funny to be known, he on one hand, he didn't have a thumb. So
I wonder why.
that's why I was doing
the cherry bomber.
He used to be the cherry bomb guy. Now I am. But he used to hold a microphone like that. And I just remember looking at him, and he would nod his head after, and I heard one go, and I would set that cherry bomb off. And just to sit there and feel the mud and see it, and that Georgie from OK Body Shop, they always did well. They did well, but they were again, I find the people, the body shop, yeah, they were body shop men and this and that, but they were very meticulous body guys, so when they built something or they did something, it was pretty amazing. I remember them building the gas tanks and battery boxes, and this is
well, they wanted them to last.
They wanted them to last. Well, yeah. The impact.
Yeah.
A lot of people in a derby car. What I remember watching videos way back when of me that, like, hey guys, like I told them, hey, watch this hit, and from the video it didn't look like anything, but I'll never forget it in the car. Yeah. So if you think what you're seeing doesn't look like much from inside the car. It's pretty violent. You better be a little bit of a tough guy.
Yeah, you can't be a wimp.
No wimps.
Now, what do? Do they take that battery and that gas tank? They put it close to the driver.
Well, one of the big things
there's got to be modifications.
Yeah, one of the big things they tell you about is preach. Don't hit the driver's door. Don't hit the driver's door. So the gas tank, the safest place is as close behind the driver, center. Right there. And back in the days, you weren't allowed all the caging and you know, safety items like you were. Like there wasn't any of that back there, and the battery was moved. Simplicity back then, you only had a couple wires, and so you can move the battery box right to usually the floor of the car. And so yeah, that was where those things went, and like I said, they made boxes and battery boxes and fuel tank. My first fuel tank was made out of a Mack truck air tank. The tank that held the air, and they put a filler neck in it and 4 bolt downs, and we bolted it to the floor. And I remember, hey, if you ever need a place to hook the car to pull it out,
hook it to that.
Hook it to this.
Yeah.
So
that added some weight.
Well, that weight, and he was, I think his lesson there was, this is important. This is something. We went to the point of taking this on one of those trucks out back that we had, and bringing it in, cleaning it up, making sure the insides were good. I remember the brass fittings on the bottom because it was pipe fitting and building a stand and welding it to it. And it was one of the important parts to me. If we went through all that, and it needed to be solid, because they knew
the labor of love.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of segued a little bit. How have the drivers' safety progressed throughout the sport from where it started, people just bashing into each other, compared to now, which probably, I've seen your rules and stuff. There are just more rules than you can shake a stick at.
Yes.
So I'm sure that those rules are for the driver's protection. So how has that evolved?
It definitely has evolved. Before, the cars were really the way that they were made, the way they came. There wasn't a lot of, other than strapping some doors shut. And back in the day, it was various, from seat belts to pieces of chain to wire, kind of whatever you had to hold the door shut. Some guys weld them or brazed them in a few places. But as it evolved, I know for a fact I'm a pretty big guy. So as I started running, the seat's breaking on me. So one of the very first things I did, which I remember people, it was like, wow, I took a piece of angle iron and I ran from the old humps in the car to my driver's door. And
like where the transmission would be? That
where
hump?
the drive shaft, that comes back. And from there, I ran a piece of angle iron to my door. And it was like, oh my God, it's reinforcement. I was like, no, I'm breaking the seats off and flopping in the back seat. This is just, but it was like, oh, we got to go to the driver's meeting. It was a big deal. We had to take it to the driver, ask the guys. I was like, guys, my seat's breaking off, man. I'm getting thrown against this seat. You could see the seat was bent, even after I put it in there, because it only caught a part of it, but it still was better than it flopping off and breaking off and going in the back seat. And I guess from there it evolved into the, started in the 90s. Well, we went from there to a piece of 4x4 square tubing, 1/4 inch thick from side to side at the B pillars. That held the seat now, but it also done some other things. Being a derby car guy, you take one thing and you're going to have it do as many other things as it possibly can do.
Sure.
To benefit you. Whether it's a cage piece, sheet metal, whatever, the manipulation of it all. And then the cars started to evolve also. The changing of, back, I'll speak for me, I love the leaf spring GM wagon. Well, 70, let's call it a 2, 3, 4. The front bumper was bolted on, and it wasn't as good as a 75 or 6. So, but I love the back of the 4s, 3s and 4s. So now, why can't I take the horns off a 5 and 6 and weld on a 3 and 4?
Franken car.
So now people, now I had the best I thought was the back end of the car, and what the best front pack, shock package I could find or thought at that point on the front of the car. And I welded on just like they did from the factory, and of course a little bit of spray paint, a little bit outside. Nobody really noticed or even fit, what year car is it when you go out there? Who knows? Nobody paid any attention to it. And but that was something, and that evolution just continued. The leaf springs. Well, man, you start buying cars that are 15, 18 years old. You get under there, that leaf spring's warped, or man, it might be broke. Well, let's put new ones on. Let's, this rear end, man, they're good, but man, a 9-inch Ford, and we can put leaf springs on that case, and that's a good. We can put gear. Why? We can put gear in this thing. Oh, okay. That will pick up the pace, and short, hard strokes will. Now you're hit that guy backed up, and a guy in a stock rear end, you backed up, hit him, backed up, and hit him again, and he ain't even moved yet because he don't have the gear you do. Shifters. The column shifter was what everybody used. That evolved from pinning it.
3 on the tree type?
Well, yeah. Most times they were automatic. So you had reverse, neutral drive. But the thing is, that whole process of you moving here, that gear outside going down, hitting the selector. Well, now we went to shifters that were bolted to the transmission. Boom, 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 boom. You're in, out, you're in reverse, you're in drive, and they locked out park.
Yeah. It's not like you're going long distances.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And one of the things when you went to the shifter was, as stuff got bent, you got a hard time hitting park or reverse or neutral because it changed as the car got bent. So now when you got that guy in there fiddling with the shifter, and you got boom, 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 you reverse drive. I mean, you're just plucking his feathers, and he's wondering why.
Turning them into a hockey puck.
Yeah, slap shot engaged, man.
Well, what do you think are the better cars out there to work with, or the worst? What are the best and the worst cars to work with?
Again,
for Derby,
the whole evolution of
any car, or
not any car. There was a car. It's called a Chrysler Imperial. It was made in the mid 64, 5, 6, 66. They had an X frame, and they were a one-piece unit, and so a lot of the things they did with them and that car was pretty amazing. So as it evolved through, and people start figuring out what car is the best. That was one of the very first cars they started to, hey, no, they outlawed it. You can't use the.
It was too good.
It was too good.
It was like Wilt Chamberlain playing basketball.
It was just too good. Can't be on there. So, and then from there, I think the trend went to Mopar, 73, 4, 5, 6, Chrysler, New Yorkers, Newports, leaf spring cars. Cars with, they were just a heavier leaf spring. I know my first car was a 77 Dodge Royal Monaco. Again, from impact, because of the leaf springs, it didn't go on the ground. It was just seemed like a heavier build, unibody car. And then they kind of started into the GMs, the Caprice, the Impala, the Oldsmobile. I guess the car that is still here today and kind of, I don't know if it leads the field, but is the leaf spring GM wagon. If an engineer was making a Derby car, he made one, he just didn't know it back then. Probably the ultimate car at one point in time.
Was that Grand Safari?
Yeah,
454.
Impala, yeah. Oldsmobile, Oldsmobile. They made them in Pontiac, Chevrolet, and Oldsmobile.
So what do? Do you ever go up to Mr. Marinich there at the Uniontown
Wreckers?
No, Uniontown Auto. I'm sorry, Uniontown Auto Spring.
Oh yeah, the Auto Spring.
Yeah, Uniontown Auto Spring, and get some beefed up ones made from him.
Again, the evolution of the GM wagon, absolutely. Learning things, where that the OEM spring met and sat. Of course, we went a little heavier, and the main a little longer. Now that changes by elongating the main leaf. That changed the angle of the rear spring hanger. So now that leaf spring changed that, lowered it, and put that leaf spring kind of up in there. So again, as everything started to evolve, I always said it wasn't because people at one point, if you had, the GM wagon, if you had one, you were the world beater. Then we start taking them and putting 75 and 6 front ends, horns on that one. Then we start putting new leaf springs on them with 9-inch Fords. Now we start putting bars behind the seat, bars across the A post. Better this, better that. These cars here are so rusty. Where can I get better? Oh man, Alabama got some. So goofies, we would drive to Alabama and bring carloads of cars back to build the Smash. That's still going on today. There's still a lot. The car has changed, but there's still a lot of people that go to places that the cars aren't rusty. I always thought starting with the best car, rust-free car you could, was always an advantage, even if they were the same car.
Mm-hmm. How much life can you get out of those cars? I mean,
it depends on you.
You run one derby, that baby's done, right?
I think I had one that we ran at least eight times back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, it won 6 or 7 of the 8 times, the same car. I
think Jesus was driving the wheel on that one.
That car came from I found that car in Smithfield, PA. And it was a drive. They drove it back, and it was sitting outside a garage. Either I was working and delivered parts to, or I went by when I was with Napa. And I don't know if that was the most. I think it was $500 or $600, and I think that was the most I ever paid for a car at that point. But today, then you move into as the evolution of those cars and those wagons and stuff got bigger and better, and the changing of the springs and A-frames, stuff like that. Then it went to what they call 80s and newer. The car had to be 80s and newer. So you weren't allowed those.
Everybody knows anything made in the 80s is going to not last very long.
Not long. Well, I think there was more people that had 80s cars, and then you would get some of these 70s cars that show up, and they just looked a lot like world beaters against some of the 80s cars in their infancy. Let me express that. The 80s cars in their infancy, and I'll go back to my point of maybe it's not the car, but it's what these mad scientists and these guys do to it, because
sure,
some of the cars we used to run over back in the day with no issues or problems are now those cars that are the car, which would be the Ford LTD, Mercury, that kind of thing. That car there back in the day was just, that wasn't anything. Every now and then you'd run into one. If it was a police edition that was kind of hard in the back and this and that. I know a local guy, Steven Sickles, his dad, I always tell his dad that I was in a big wagon and we hit back to back, and it was the first time all night that I seen the back end actually in the tailgate bend a little bit, and I'm like, oh my, what was that I hit?
That guy's got some junk in the trunk.
That guy got something in the bed. But it was later on as we spoke, it was a police edition, square body Ford, and he was telling me about why he chose that car, and told me about it, and I'm like, okay. But I was still, hey man, as long as I could. At one point, I owned 27 leaf spring GM wagons in my life. I was addicted.
Sounds like it. I bet your wife was real happy about that too.
Well, the thing is, get them involved.
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate with my wife, who grew up. Dad was a race car driver and a mechanic, and um, then Michelle said one day, I want to too. That's a whole nother episode of the wife getting involved and wanting to. But yeah, so
Well, let's touch on that a little bit. I mean, you got a lot of miles, obviously, building cars, crashing them, participating in the Derby. What's it like now being the promoter? That's a relatively new job title for you.
It is.
And now you're just blowing up with Hardcore Derby Promotions.
Hardcore's come a long way in the last, 5 years, and we continue to stay on our track and continue to push forward nice and steady. So being a promoter, it's an eye-opener. Back in the day when I bought a car, I went to Alabama on Thanksgiving, as I remember. Drove down. I run around the hood, the junkyards, wherever we could to buy cars. Who knows who we were, money in our, things with full money and riding around. Who knows what? I brought them back. I stripped them. I laid under there got mud in my eye and rust in my eye, and I welded them and to all the weld splatter all over my arms. I did all those things. I built it, and the only one I had to please was me as a driver. And the hard part about being a promoter is I was that. As they are now, I once was. Don't tell me how to drive my car. It's my car. I built it. I bought it. Don't tell me how to. This is the rules. You say I can do this, maybe, but I went outside that box. Again, I said maybe I was part of the problem, not the solution back in the day. You told me I can get to my bumper height, but you didn't tell me how. Hold on. I'll fix you. Now, in perspective, you've got so many people to try and please. You have first of all, the people that hire you. You got fair boards.
The bureaucracy.
Yeah, you got fair boards. You've got drivers next. You've got fans. You've got so many other irons in the fire. It changes your perspective. As opposed to what's good for me, it's what's good for everybody as a whole. And let's face it, what I think's good for everybody in a whole, that's an opinion. That's my opinion. That's not everybody agrees with my opinion.
But they know you got the miles to back it up.
Well, I try to make it make sense, but there's always somebody that thinks they have a better idea or a better this, and I think that's part of the difficulty.
Ultimately, it's the fans, right?
Well, the fans, yes. The drivers, I don't think they know how much power they have. That they ultimately they determine who lives and dies from the promoter's perspective. But you know what? Some of the hard truths. I go to a show or I go watch not my own show. And people tell me how terrible. Man, this is terrible. This guy lets his buddies do this, and he lets his guy do this. And when you look at that car over there, it's cheated. Blah blah. I had went to several shows, and the same guy came up to me that was there participating 3 or 4 times. I said, Bud, look. I said, I have yet to see you at one of mine. But every time I come to this one, you're here complaining about what this guy's doing. But yet you're here to support it. There's one thing. If out there, listen to me, Derby World. Quit supporting the shit shows. Straight up. If you want things to change in Demolition Derby, stop supporting the guy that gives his buddies the avenue. Stop supporting the guy that doesn't inspect cars. Cars and people, a fair in these cars and people. When that stops, things will change. But if you continue to go there and support it, nothing will change.
There's got to be some cohesion throughout the different promoted races or derbies.
There is not.
That makes a huge difference right there.
Well,
concrete in this bumper, no concrete in that bumper.
Whatever. Welds in this one, welds in that one, not. I'm not saying there's the concrete, but there's definitely
that's old school.
That's old school. But I've been to places, and I'm not saying. First thing, let me say this: my inspection isn't perfect. I don't think anybody. A person has months, 3 months, maybe longer to build this car. They've got 3 months to hide it. I've got 15 minutes to find it.
Yeah, and you got a team of people that are going through looking at all the cars. So you got 20 cars. That takes a while.
Sometimes at some of these big shows, you might have 300-400 cars.
Yikes, that's too many.
So, but with paint and things and all the stuff, some of these guys, and I tell you about, they're geniuses. I mean, the things, I seen a car, the guy cut the outside of the frame off. It almost looked like he saran wrapped it. He heat shrink this frame, and behind it another frame appeared, and I was like, I was like, Houdini or what? What is going on? Where did that come from?
Did he win?
No, he didn't win. We actually caught that, but when I seen it. And I seen it unwrap, and I say unwrap because I was just watching this guy cut 2 seams, and I'm behind it. There was a whole nother one.
The double frame. Wow. I don't know. Never did ask my guy how he found that, but when I looked at it, it didn't look. It could have been width or measurements or when a guy, the best inspectors or builders, they're the cheaters. The best inspectors were the best cheaters. Mm-hmm. We got a guy out there named Toby Hiley who changed Derby World with his aspects and his brain and his knowledge of the cars. Toby's cars were strong, better than everybody else's, but Toby was just that much more advanced. Even my day in inspecting Toby's cars, he got me. After the fact, we had a good time with fuel tanks, and I wasn't picking up. He was telling me it's just a fuel tank, but the way it was positioned and the way it was that fuel tank was doing a lot more than just holding fuel. So, and that was back in the Carrollton, Ohio days and my Destruction Production days back in the days. Before I was a promoter, I did work for Destruction Productions. I've worked for Krauscher for many, many years over. So, one of the things about being a promoter today is I kind of knew what I was up against. I knew that I was going to get a phone call. Hey, can I have a battery in the car? Mm. A lot of some of the younger generation, and they get kind of frustrated. You've spent, like right now, I'm working on the rules. We've spent probably 3 or 4 months on rules, and someone will call and ask something that's in red, highlighted. Hey, can I have a bumper on it? Yeah, man. There's a section that you've spent a week on about bumpers, and all those answers are in there, but they don't look at it. Yeah, you got to read.
A little bit. Help us to help you, and some of the frustrations. But, hey, I knew that was part of it. Some of the hard parts were, guys, man, I'm just so tired of answering just questions, that we work so hard at putting a rule set out, and no one even takes the courtesy to look at it.
And you got the rules clearly marked out on the old website.
Yeah. Our website, thanks to Unit 4 Media, and you do an amazing job with the website. It's been nothing but
thank you, buddy.
Great stuff. I'm always proud to send someone to it. Our stuff looks good.
I mean, it's clear stated, you got the rules. You want to come now.
There's a whole list.
Yeah, these aren't the updated rules, but there's some updated ones in here, like
Yeah.
the full-size Gladiator and stuff.
Yeah.
You can go here, and there's your highlighter right there.
Right. I mean, yourself as we go back, and I'm always about, hey Steve, let's update. Hey Steve, after we get to reading them and fixing them, and I feel terrible. I sent him in. I had went over this and that 100 times. I sent it to Steve, and then bang, a guy calls me with something, or I look and I missed that. Oh, I mean it. I don't know how many times you can go over something and just
you miss it.
You miss it.
Yeah, it just turns into like maybe not word vomit, but just like page vomit out there. And,
well, or somebody ask a question that you didn't address. Something, what about this? Man, that's not in there. You're right. So the adjustment process, and
checking out the rules is critical.
Very,
Do a lot of the other promoters have the rule sets that you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
This year we're in simplification mode. I am gonna. I'm not changing the rules, but where bumpers section A, paragraph C, letter 7, is now 2 lines. I've come to the conclusion. I've asked myself for years, why don't the set of rules I worked so hard on, and the other day I was looking at, I had 15 pages. I had 15 pages in my head, like. I was reading them, and I got about 3, 4. I was like, you know what? You're right. I'm tired of reading these rules. Why? Yeah. They're not going to go through 15 pages. And then it was 15 pages of things why you can't bring your car to a hardcore show. What am I doing?
Yeah.
What
you don't want to rule yourself out.
Absolutely. So I know. I don't know when this will hit or what, but when the guys see, what did you do? I simplified things. I made it easy to do business with me. I gave you more reasons to come to and derby with hardcore than I didn't.
You got to have rules. You don't want to have too many rules. It's a balance.
It is.
And you're doing that as a promoter.
Yeah. I'm like you said, I'm relatively... promotions. At first I wanted to control everything. I wanted a 6-inch bolt. I wanted it blue with pink polka dots. That was if it wasn't there and it wasn't blue and it wasn't pink polka dots, don't bring it to me because you won't run.
That left a bad taste in people's mouths, I'm sure.
Yeah, it did, and not there's some. I do the youth nationals at the end of the year, which is a bigger money paying show. Guys were at the fair running for $1,500 or $800. Does it have to be that way? Can we just have fun? I mean, if that bolt's 1/2 inch or 7/16, doesn't matter. Does it matter? Does the little bit that it's the different matter? Is that the all? There are a bunch of things that gotta be right, but that's not. I don't want you to not bring your car to me because you have a little different size bolt than another guy on one end or on the front end or in this. So you're going to see a revamping. Again, I don't want to call it new rules. I just want, where I had 9 lines, I've now got 2 that say the same thing as those 9 lines.
That makes my job a little bit easier too, maybe.
It's 3, I mean, and the rule sets are set up a little bit now that you build a car to this lower one, and when it gets kind of beat up and brought back some, reusability, that same car can be added things to and go to the next class. So, and I made it the youth car, the motor swap car. Dad can get in the boys can get in the dads. And, maybe they could run together one time out there.
When you say motor swap, like the dad getting in the son's car, the son's getting in the dad's car. What do you mean? Like they're in there together? It's a two-man or like?
No, I mean, maybe they could run each other's car. But what I did is you had rules for youth. You had rules for what I call a motor swap car is, let's say you take a Ford and you put a Chevy engine in it.
Okay.
Or you take a Chevy and put a Mopar and a 318 in, because that's your motor of choice. That's the one you feel more comfortable with. You talked as we went going back to how the evolution of cars before you ran what the motor was in it.
Right.
But now the evolution. Hey, we did that rear end. What if I
change the motor?
What if I went from 230 horsepower to 350?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How about this?
Sounds like destruction. Recipe for destruction.
And with that gear, this motor, and what if I cut the rings just a little bit to give, when when it gets
looking
hot,
for that edge,
the expansion or contraction of this, now, that motor turns over when it's cold freely, and it kind of goes back to where it normally would be, or a little less than at stock clearances. Mm-hmm. So somebody way smarter than me figured out those clearances and how that expansion and contraction works. And so now when it gets hot, that motor doesn't get tight, and it's not hard to turn in the piston in the cylinder, because that ring on the piston is now cut loosely. Mm-hmm. So as the expansion of the block from the heat, now it's just kind of back where it normally would be inside the cylinder, and still turns over, still runs. I mean, these masters at the machine work
more tolerance.
You guys got like Collier and Redline. I mean, these gentlemen are Frankensteins with these motors. I mean, I honestly believe some of them, the only way to stop them is to pinch off the fuel line. I mean, I watched them run 30, 40, 50 minutes with no water, and just continue to create horsepower, and it's beyond comprehension of what they got. And,
wow.
But again, you want to play, you got to pay those in order to get those. There's some cost, and
you can have some money tied up in those cars you're crashing out there.
I'm thinking in the big shows, I wouldn't be surprised of 60,000 to get this.
What?
Yes, at the big like
$60K to win 2,500.
Well, no, in the big shows, like now what you're starting to see is 40,000 to win, 50,000 to win, 100,000 to win. I mean, you're starting to see absolutely real cash.
Yeah, that's
so but not that they weren't building. I mean, like even a good local fair car in a motor swap class could be 10,000. Could be. I mean, the simplicity of it all, and the wiring harnesses. Now the guys have started to figure that out, and again the evolution. Because of the pinch wire or the fuse when you got hit and it pinched the wire and it wouldn't start. Well, now there's people that make simplified wiring harnesses that you want to take all that garbage out, and then this starts the car, and that turns it off and makes it go. Mm-hmm.
There's like a whole infrastructure of manufacturing
vendors,
vendors that are coming and supplying bolt-on great parts for
amazing rear ends, drive shafts that slide, bumpers, cages, bolting, steering columns.
It's getting high tech.
Yeah, the sky high steering shafts. The old screwdrivers back in the day that had a spring in the middle of them. Did you ever see it? It's like you could. It was a heavy duty spring, and you went on like if you needed to get around the corner a little bit or something. They were really heavy-duty springs they put on little screwdrivers. Well, a guy made a steering shaft out of that. Now it's healthy, it's thick. Now that car, when the front end left or right or up or down, any direction, the guy's a genius. I mean, this thing handles it, and you still steer no matter what.
Wow.
So yeah, all those things that make this um, evolution of Demolition Derby is really out there.
So there's a lot going on with it, and you've had a lot of different events. What's been one of the best events in your time with Hardcore Derby Promotions that you put on where you were like, man, everything just went perfect. We were all had a great time. Fans.
I don't know. I won't say perfect because I don't believe there is one. They could always be better. I could do better. We could be better. But I will tell you about Stoneboro, Pennsylvania. I don't know. I was told, and I found myself before I even did that fair. It was one of the very first times in my life that I had drove 2.5 hours, rented a room to go to a Demolition Derby at a fair. And
as a guest,
my first two times, 2 years. And there was just something about the people, the Derby in itself. A lot of times, friends or enemies, like me and you, if we're out there in a Derby car and you're out there with me and you're kind of buddies. Mm-hmm. You don't think I'll clock you, especially if there's 5 or 6 other guys. I'm probably not going to hit Steve before I hit the other guys. Well, it just when he say go up there, there's no friends.
He's a hockey puck.
There's no enemies. Slap shot engagement. Hold on tight. Here we go. I mean, father, sons, best friends. I mean, some of the best things I've seen up there are some of the best guys that are outside of the arena are best buddies. And I thought one took the other one's wife or something. I mean, they was in kill mode. That was it. I mean, it was on. I mean, they were hitting each other. Oh, they bumped and it just got hot. It was like play pushing, and then all of a sudden, all right, and then here
it's Stoneboro. That's where the heavy hitters
are. It's a magical place, and I keep calling and I say, Stoneboro, you gotta go feel it, hear it, see it. A little inside info. I'm 99% sure we're going back there for 2026, and the Derbians phenomenal. The people at the fair, the fair board, all the people involved there are amazing, and the competitors and fans, nothing like it. The Derby itself being the way that it's set up, the music playing, the cars roaring, it's got a little bit of peat gravel, the stones flying, and the competitors are just, you can see the fire in their eyes.
Nice.
And it's on like a horse track, so there's no place to hide. There ain't no corner. It's like there's corners, but there ain't corners. Because you get in a corner, you're gonna get your slap shot. Here we come. I mean, you're gonna get just hammered. So, but if I had to say one place, if you told me I could only do one Derby a year, Stoneboro, Pennsylvania.
It's got a great name too, Stoneboro.
The Stoneboro, and I've been very fortunate. The people that did that Derby before, when they left, they were the ones that recommended us hardcore. Nice. And again, I went and I knew them, and I knew how high end they were, and the people that ran their shows, and I was kind of like, was I ready? I mean, I was, talk about, rookie promoter, yeah. Longtime Derby guy, yes, too. So, but I was, again, the crew and the people that we had, they say you're only as good as your people around you. And I had great people around me. So I had no mountain too high. I take that challenge. That's the way I looked at it. And 6 years later, we're still here, and I hope to continue that one as long as I'm a promoter.
Well, you've been there, done that, bought the T-shirt with, the Derby.
Yeah.
And you've been the driver. You've been the promoter. So you've seen the past. You've seen the present. Where do you feel the history, where do you feel the future is going for the sport of Derby? Like, what's it going to look like?
Well, a lot of the future is a lot why I have worked with the youth. I think more people are getting out of it than in it.
Mm.
I for a living sold paint for auto body. I've watched that for 30 some years. I've watched that evolve into body guys and people making something look straight and flat to, hey, now they're just, hey, that panel's got a ding in it. Okay, put a new one on, unbolt it, bolt it on. No kind of craftsmanship, no kind of nothing. So
no more Bondo.
None. Bumper got a crack in it, put a new one. I mean, so with the youth, I've got heavily involved in the youth because in order for this to go to continue, we've got to replenish the bullpen, put more people in the dugout, and the sooner we start those youth, and the more they learn to keep it. Yes, the cars will evolve, but as in anything, they'll transition. They'll whatever's next, the SUV or whatever it is, as long as it's legal and okay to smash cars, I want to be able to. I want to give those kids the opportunity to. So the full frame cars and this and that. But I mean, I said 15 years ago, where are they getting these wagons? Then where are we getting these 65, 66 Imperials? They're still getting them today. They're still out there today. They're still. I seen
Alabama.
I seen NLR had a load of wagons the other day. At one of the places that build parts out west, and yeah, I mean they're still finding them. And that was 15 years ago. So I don't know. I mean, I don't foresee them running out of cars real soon, especially like I said, that LTD and those cars that most people are using now, and the compacts. I mean, the front wheel drive stuff has done nothing but grown in several different ways and classes and builds. I mean, most places that's the most cars there at this point anymore is the readily and the cost factor and availability to things.
Well, what are some of the events that you have coming in 2026 that you're fired up about, you want to let people know about?
Well, I'm pretty sure we'll be back at the Washington Courthouse this year for one night of the fair. I'm pretty sure about that one. Also, Greene County, Jacktown, Washington, PA, again, Stoneboro. Fayette County looks good for coming, and back to October. I believe it's 3rd and 4th. It's the first Saturday and Sunday in October. The Youth Nationals is coming back. Bigger and better. Last year was our first year in Ohio. We took the circus on the road. Some people weren't happy with things, this, that, and the other. Some people, especially some of the local people, felt like I abandoned them or left, but it was purely financial reasons, and some of the local fairgrounds and stuff. It's just not affordable for me anymore. It's not business wise. It had nothing to do with the people. It's just a business decision, a business move, and if they'd ever sit down with me and put it, I could show them on paper, and they probably would understand too. It's not,
ain't nobody got time for that.
Right. That's another, again, I told you about how you asked me the difference in the driving and promoting, with whatever money I spent, this, that, and the other. You need to be profitable. You need to be successful to keep the wheels going.
Certainly.
At some point, in time. I mean, there's not always a win, but things need to even out and level out at some point. That if you're not going to be able to even, break even or somewhat profitable, why at some point do it? So I'm not sure. I see other guys out there waiting on car counts and sponsors. Secondary to me, man. If you have to worry about sponsorship to do a demolition derby, then you're doing it wrong.
Putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah, man.
Thing.
If you can't, if that's the determination of whether you go or not, then troubles. It may be not right away, or if you're fresh or the honeymoon stage, but you got them. That sponsor that don't do or don't say or do what he's. Yeah, that's not how this works.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good, man. We have learned a lot about you, learned a lot about the Derby, and, we got a good podcast going on here. And who can we see next time? You had mentioned another feller that you wanted to invite maybe next time.
Yeah.
Who's that going to be?
His name is Trevin Meyer.
Trevin Meyer.
And he is the 2025 Youth Nationals national champion. Well deserved. This young man, you can see it in his face. In victory lane, you could see it in his dirty face.
He's fired up.
Work still that switch was still flipped. I won, but man, oh days, that young gentleman comes from a long line. His dad Dave of some of the best derby carting in the country, and people surround him, and his dad and his family and his brother. Dylan's another hot dog. I mean that young boys, that they drive with some of the adults and beat them. I mean these kids are 14 or 15 years old. Hold on to your hats, guys.
Here I come.
Yeah, hold on, guys. They got good equipment, but they can have the equipment without the know-how. And when I tell you it's in their blood, it's in their blood. I mean,
oil in their veins.
It's the drive. They've got that burn. They've got that fire. They've got that. And some kids get it faster than others, but that Meyer group from Michigan is something, and I am excited. Again, he's probably a 16 or 17-year-old boy. I don't see him on Facebook. I don't see him on Instagram. I don't see him playing game. You know what he does when he comes home from work? He goes to his dad's place and works.
Starts working.
Yeah,
likes it.
That done at 2:30 or 3, gets home, and at 3:15, you know where his dad is expecting him is, in talking to the family, they expect him over at work.
That's surprising. You don't have that in too many young people these days, and that's a good thing to have. That work ethic. The drive.
Right? Everybody wants to push buttons. Everybody wants to do this. Everybody
wants to put a new panel on.
Yeah. I take that one. I'll put this one on. So to see these youth and these kids put down the phones, put down the controllers, go to the garage, pick up a hammer, bust a knuckle, learn to weld, learn to use a screwdriver, a jack, get some glass in their finger, eat a little dust and dirt.
Toughen up a little bit.
Man, those days, what are we doing today with these soft? The kids are soft. Soft.
That's by design. That's by design. That's another episode.
I drank from a water hose, and I farmed, and I've had cow poop on my nose, and I survived somehow, some way.
Yeah, we all will, and hopefully we'll be a little bit better.
Yeah,
that we got some hardcore derby promotions that we can go see and hang out and watch the puck get hit.
That's right. That's right. That's my word. Slap shot, engage, man. See it, man. Hockey puck 'em.
You're not lying, man. That's some violent stuff out there. Well, do you have anything else you want to tell anybody that before we close out here?
No, I want to thank you. Sometimes Frankie, I call it Frankie-esque. I could be a little rough around the edges. I'm probably a little more 40 grit than I am.
40 grit.
Yeah, you've helped me to refine. When I knew I wanted to do this, I knew I had to refine some things, and I wanted it to be not so much Frankie-esque as something a little better to bring to the people out there. and Steve and Unit Ford Media. You've made this easy for me.
Thank you.
I thank you. And I hope we're going to look for some sponsors.
Yeah, we got to get some sponsors.
We got to get some
up.
sponsors for the podcast.
More shows.
Yeah, more shows coming. I think we're going to start off at a once a month thing and see how that goes. And like I said, but it's going to be done correctly and done right. And just from everything I see here and what you've done to make it all happen is incredible. But yeah, if you guys out there listening and you sponsors out there want to get your name on the podcast and put your little logo up
or on the website.
On the website, yeah, well, that's all too. We can put them anywhere they want to put them.
Yeah.
So I'm all good. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited about this.
I am too, Frankie,
Yes.
and I think this is a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, this is Behind the Wheel and the Wall with Frankie Guy, and I'm your producer, Steve Barber. Guys, thanks for coming. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. We're going to have some good stuff. We're going to be making the noise out there with the Derby.
Amen, and God bless.